Sidney Harry Fox was handsome and seemingly trustworthy. As early as 13, Sidney went door to door asking for donations to a charity, but then pocketing the money for himself. When he was young, he worked for a wealthy West End family, where he learned to mimic the ways and behaviors of the upper class. During World War I, Fox gained a job at a bank using his affected upper-class accent. While there, he began forging customers' checks. When he was caught, he was given two options: go to jail or enlist. Fox joined the Royal Air Force, where he forged his fellow officers' checks. This cost him 3 months in jail. After the war, he gained employment as a footman, where he continued to study the ways of the upper class and forge more checks. He went back to jail. Fox's mother, Rosalind Fox, worked multiple jobs to support him as he moved in and out of prison. While out of prison, Fox portrayed himself as a well-off man about town, spending far more than he could afford, even forging checks to pay for his mother's medication. In a strange event in Fox's life, he and his mother befriended a rich Australian woman in England who was separated from her husband. They became so close that the woman, Mrs. Morse, invited them to stay with her. At some point during their friendship, Fox convinced Mrs. Morse to take out a $30,000 life insurance policy on which he was named one of the beneficiaries. A few weeks after that, Morse nearly dies of gas poisoning, which went unexplained. Then when some of her jewelry goes missing, the Foxes were booted from the home. From here, Fox had trouble finding work, and despite having very little money between him and his mother, Fox checked them both into the Hotel Metropole. On the night of October 23, 1929, his mother died in the fire. It seemed Mrs. Fox had simply suffocated from the smoke. There were no visible external wounds, but suspicion aroused when Sidney began asking about payment on his mother's life insurance policy. There's conflicting reports as to who actually took out the policy, whether Fox's mother did it herself or if Sidney took out the policy and forged her signature. And when an insurance agent made a routine phone call to ask Fox questions about the accident, his answers were found to be evasive. Fox was arrested for fraud on November 3, 1929, and went to trial. The Crown focused on Fox's criminal history of using fraud to get money. At some point surrounding the trial, his mother's body was exhumed for further testing. A government pathologist conducted an autopsy. He found a bruise inside the throat, so no bruising would be visible on the outer neck, and there was no fire damage in the lungs. He was able to determine that Mrs. Fox died before the fire due to strangulation. Sidney insisted he was innocent, saying, quote, "All our lives we were pals, and again I say, before my God, I did not murder her." On January 3, 1930, the jury deliberated for only an hour and a half before finding Fox guilty of murdering his own mother to commit insurance fraud. Sidney Harry Fox was hanged on April 8, 1930 at the age of 31 in Kent, England. Up until the very end, Fox swore he was innocent.